This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro, back on the air. If you're out there watching on the social, if you're out there on YouTube, hello and welcome. We are live and going to have a whole lot of fun talking about NHRA drag racing in general. Alan Reinhart will be joining us. He was out there at Las Vegas at the Strip. He was hanging out Division 7 racing. I was at South Georgia Motorsports Park for the Southern Sportsman Showdown. So we'll be able to exchange stories and talk about all the cool stuff. That was fun. I had a great time. You know, I took some photographs. If you've been following on social media, we just had a great time. It was a wild event. A lot of money was given away. It was a big old time. And it showcased stock and super stock racers. So it was very, very cool. And I appreciate it. Before we get into all that, though, I do want to shout out to the people who make it possible for me to do this show. And I'm talking about people like Marvin Rodak and Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com, his hot sauces and spice rubs and everything good. 817-924-6821. But Marvin this weekend is going to be out there at Ennis, Texas, the Motorplex, for Funny Car Chaos. Something like 72 funny cars going to be out there now. And, Richard Hartman bringing his altar. They're going to try to set records. It's become a big, big thing. And we'll have a couple of WFO representatives out there, hopefully get some photographs for next week's show. But Marvin, if you're out there, if you're going to the Funny Car Chaos, be sure to flag down Marvin. And if you're not, give him a call, 817-924-6821. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. There's a brand new episode of Hidden Horsepower up and available. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But it's really an exercise to let you all know that Total Seal piston rings are industry leaders, and they can help you cut down friction inside your engine and make your car go faster. It's as simple as that. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed with Samtech.edu today. The next generation, young people, this is where you can get started. And not only that, but you're in the network, right? They know people where you might end up working, employed, interning, that kind of deal. Samtech.edu. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. They had one this past weekend. I got to check in, find out how it went. But the bottom line is you get an opportunity to drive a dragster with very, very little output. You know, you don't have to buy a helmet. You don't have to buy a fire suit. You don't have to talk somebody into it. You can just go get in a car and really see what it's all about. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Also, we got WFO Radio face coverings back in stock. So if you've been waiting for one, WFO Radio face coverings, just $10. You know, now they're more important than ever because we're trying to really end this thing. We're trying to drive the stake into the heart of the pandemic. And they say, wearing a mask at the very end is the way to do it. So there you go. Plus, big thanks to Nitro Fish Racing. A lot of people buying the WFO Radio 10th anniversary t-shirt out there, the Southern Sportsman Showdown. At least that's what they told me. All right. It's now time to bring on the voice of the NHRA, who was out there at the Strip in Vegas, hanging out with Jeff Foster, Mr. Alan Reinhart. What's up, AR? How are you?
Hey, I am great. It's a beautiful day. We had a good event up in Vegas. It's nice to be back home. I've got a little time now to mess around with some of my stuff before we go back to Vegas and run 4-wide alcohol cars for the first time. 4-wide. Looking forward to it.
And that was a big announcement that not only, and I kind of was under the impression it was just going to be in Vegas, but maybe I missed that. But now both 4-wide races will have 4-wide alcohol cars, which I'm super excited about that. The A-Fuel cars, sure, but the alcohol funny cars, that's going to be crazy.
It should be a lot of fun. And I believe, at least last year, I was under the understanding that they would only run 4-wide in Vegas as well. That was going to be kind of the experiment. And then I think now that the decision was made that, like, look, we need to do one on the east and one on the west because there has been a lot of interest in people that want to try it. Even when the Super Gas and Super Comp guys time trialed 4-wide the one time in Charlotte, it was funny. I thought, there's a bunch of guys are going, well, this is kind of stupid. What's the point? And then after it was over with, everybody went, that was cool. I'm glad we got to be a part of it. So I think that's the feeling, is that a lot of people want to be a part of it, want to come out and try it. It should be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly. Simple as that. Vegas, I don't know if I'm on the schedule for that one just yet, but I'm scheduled to find out maybe later on this week. And even if not, I'm excited that we're moving again. Divisional races, kind of cool. There's all kinds of news, obviously, Atlanta and the Southern Nationals, the final one at Atlanta Dragway, 40th. That's going to be great. We're going to talk about that. But why don't you tell your stories and I'll tell mine. I'm just going to kind of go down the results. Jackie Frick able to pick up the win out there, and she's having a strong start to the season. That car is ready to run, and they seem coming out of the box strong.
Yeah, they ran well down in Gainesville. Jackie really feels like they let one get away in the final round. They had a fuel system issue. When she hit the gas, it didn't get full fuel in the final until like 1.8 seconds or something like that. So the car slowed down. And, certainly Rachel was running well, and Jackie's not saying, I absolutely had the race won, but she feels like she, could at least give it a better run or had a legitimate shot at it. She actually told me, and, was speaking with her and John Fink, that they weren't planning to go to Vegas. It was Sunday night after Gainesville. They were having dinner and and Vegas has always been good to them. And John looked at the truck driver and said, you know what? Head west. We'll get some plane tickets. We'll see you out there. So it was kind of a last minute thing. But Sean Cowie had the car to beat. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He qualified number one. He ran in the teens, which, at altitude at Vegas is pretty astonishing. And ran very well all weekend until the final round. In the final round, he shook. Jackie won a 5:23. She also was running very good all weekend. I think every run she made was in the 5:20s. So it should have been a great final. It ended up with Sean Cowie shaking the tires, and Jackie takes the win, and they're just going to hang out in Vegas and wait for the 4-wide.
Well, I like it. Yeah, exactly. Now they're ready to roll, and they'll be out there for the 4-wide. And why would you not want to take part in the historic anything nowadays, right? Anytime you can be a part of historic anything, you go do it. It's worth it because you can say you've been there. So Jackie picks up the win in Top Alcohol Dragster. Top Alcohol Funny Car, it was Nick Janik over Doug Gordon.
And Doug Gordon had the car to beat. And same thing, he got in the final and he ended up shaking. The first run that Nick made all weekend long that he didn't shake was in the final. There was there was a bit of a short field of funny cars that were out there. Nick, for those of you who don't know, bought Jay Payne's entire operation. I mean, truck, trailer, car, everything.
Oh, really?
And he was out there kind of working the bugs out of it. But he kept getting a little bit quicker each run down the racetrack, but he was still having to pedal each run down the racetrack until he got the final round. He ran a 55. Doug ended up having to pedal his. So Gordon comes up the runner-up, and Nick Janik is undefeated in his brand new race car.
There it is. That's a nice place to be. Comp Eliminator Dean Carter and his A Nostalgia Dragster. That's A Nostalgia Dragster combination is looking good over Doug Lambeck. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think Comp is seeing a little bit of a resurgence right now. We had a strong field of cars down in Gainesville. There was 26 or 28 of them at the regional event here in Vegas. And, for a few years, a lot of people were ready to, dig a hole in the ground and put Comp in it. But I think that it's starting to come back right now. And for Doug Lambeck, that was just an interesting weekend. And I've said it a number of times in the different classes, if somebody who's really good is struggling, you need to get rid of them, right? I mean, don't let them keep trying.
Yes.
And Lambeck didn't show up until Saturday, which is pretty normal for him. We run 2 qualifiers on Friday, 1 on Saturday, and then go into elimination. So he just made the 1 qualifying run on Saturday, I think blew the tires off and turned sideways. So he comes back in the first round. He's qualified way down in the bottom half of the field, has to run one of the show-offs in the first round. I don't even remember who it was, but they go red, and Doug goes a little less sideways. And then in the next round, he basically got another gimme. And by the time that he got to the final round, he'd had it figured out. He used up a little bit of his index, but he very easily could have been gone early. And he made Dean Carter have to work for the final. But it was good for Dean and good for a strong field of comp cars. It's just good to see a strong field of comp cars, and I hope that trend continues.
Let's dig a little deeper into why do you think is it the personal index that has been, what is it? Are we like year 3 or 4 of personal index? And I've talked to a lot of people. I talked to Lee Sharp. He was real proud of being involved in it. And, seeing Erica out there, not that personal index, because she can crush any index. But, your car is not antiquated anymore.
I think that's certainly part of it. I also think that there was at least some, not maybe a ton, but there was at least some movement away from comp and guys that were looking into, top sportsman or top dragster. Because you don't have to necessarily keep up with the Joneses over there until it turned out where you got to be, a 640 player to qualify. And, there are just some people that like the performance classes. They don't like to have to, go too fast and lose. They don't like to have to play the brakes at the finish line. They want to be able to show off their performance. And that's where, they have always been able to shine in comp. And I just think that there's people that are coming back to that. There are, The personal indexes certainly have something to do with it, but all in all, I'm just grateful for the revival. I don't know exactly all the reasons, but I'm grateful to see it happening.
I agree. And comp is a respected category. For instance, Fast Eddie Fetterkyle, right? Who Strutmaster sponsorship down here. When I ask him, it's like, why not Top Sportsman was the exact question, right? What, all right, you're going to do this. Why do you want to be in comp? And he goes, look, first of all, I've always loved pro stock and it's close to pro stock, number one. But number two, he goes, when you're going to run for the most part, you're parking in a decent spot most of the time. Like the category is a category that is respected by everyone for the most part. And so he had a bunch of listed reasons that all made sense, like competition eliminator. And, maybe the John Force fan who's there to see 330 mile per hour don't get it. But there's a lot of sports and racers, pro stock affiliated people that absolutely love comp. So I agree. I hope comp continues to come back.
I think, the pecking order has a lot to do with it. When you go to a Mellow Yellow event or a Camping World event.
I did it once too, man. All right. So thank goodness Reinhart messed up.
When you go to an event where the professionals are on the ground, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock Motorcycle, and down the pecking order. When you go to a regional event, it's alcohol dragster, alcohol funny car, comp down the pecking order. If you look at NHRA.com on the homepage, the results from Vegas say Frick, Janet, Carter, lead the winners in Vegas because it is that high on the pecking order as far as the classes are concerned. And I think a lot of people that means something to them. They want to be in there. And I also you mentioned pro stock. It's a great stepping stone to pro stock. Almost everybody that races in pro stock went through comp on the way up there. There were a couple of guys that just started there, but for the most part, if you climb the ladder like you would do to get into a Top Fuel car, you go, maybe the super comp, maybe the top dragster, definitely the alcohol dragster, and then on the Top Fuel. Comp is the last step before pro stock if you are a gas carburetors and guy who likes to shift gears.
Exactly. And love comp. Comp is as good as it gets if you like that kind of stuff. Like you said, if you like gas, if you like carburetors, if you like shifting gears, if you like amazing super mods, like, come on, it is great stuff. In super stock, it was Ryan McClanahan over Dave Kelly. McClanahan's car, that looks pretty sweet. I hadn't seen that car just yet. I don't know how new it is exactly, but it is a good looking, another little Cobalt, the prototypical super stock car these days, certainly. For a lot of people, that was kind of cool. And Justin Lamb in Stock Eliminator over Brian McClanahan. So, wow, they had a good day.
Yeah, they almost had the father-son double, but and McClanahan's had that car for a few years. It is gorgeous, and when you get the closer you get to it, the nicer it looks. It's not one of those that looks good from the stands, but when you come up to it, it's it literally the closer you get to it, the nicer it looks. But yeah, he had a good day. Justin Lamb in Vegas. Wow, what are the odds, right?
Right.
It was a good, clean race. We had one super stocker hit the wall. Candy Mesa lost an engine and got into the wall. We had a top dragster that blew up like a fuel car and brushed the wall. But other than that, and both of those drivers walked away unscathed. Other than that, it really was just a good, clean weekend for the most part. We had a little bit of a wind issue on Saturday that kind of shuffled the schedule around, but it was a good weekend. I think a good time was had by all. We were out of there at a decent hour on Sunday night and, move on to the next one.
Very nice. Val Torres, Super Comp, Mike Boehner in Super Gas, Super Street, Ryan Hunard. Okay.
Humard.
Yes. M. That's exactly. It's an M. I wish I could see. Brianna Weens. That's great. And Top Dragster, Top Sportsman, Doug Bracey. Looked like you guys had a good old time over there. Congratulations to all the winners out there. And, got the race in, right? Like that's most important. And abided by all the rules. And hopefully we'll be able to come back with as many fans as is possible.
Yeah, I think that, everybody's looking forward to the Vegas National. And I think that there's going to be word here in the next day or two about exactly what the protocols are going to be and what the percentages are going to be allowed. But Jeff Foster, who's the manager of the place, seemed pretty confident. He said, after the NASCAR thing where they were under the microscope as far as the fans and the seating and the spacing and all that stuff, and they did everything that they were supposed to do. And, all the Health County officials from Clark County and the state of Nevada seemed like they were pleased with that. And so he feels pretty confident that we're going to have a good, successful drag race there as well. Two more things on the deal. Brianna Weens, for her, it was her first win. If you're out in that part of the world, Ted Weens Tire and Auto is a huge chain of stores in the Las Vegas area. They basically are the Mountain View Tire of Las Vegas, and they also have a fleet of race cars. Everybody in family races. Brianna went to the final last year, came up short. This was her first win. For Doug Bracey, he got the win, and congratulations. But Kelly, Kelly
Harper,
yeah, supercharged Mustang. Basically, it's a pro mod car. Blew the motor up in the semifinals, couldn't come back, and so it was a little bit anticlimactic that Kelly didn't get a chance to race for it. But all in all, it was a pretty good day. Val Torres, if you want to beat Val Torres, race him soon. He has now won his last 6 finals. The last person that beat him in a final was his kid, and if you throw that one out, he's won the last 8 or the last 9 or something. So if Val gets late in the day and he just gets better and better, there's a reason that he's 6 or 7 championships on the division trail. But anyway, like I said, it was a good, clean, fun race, and looking forward to the next one.
All right. Well, that was great. My turn for show and tell. I was up at South Georgia Motorsports Park. It's South Georgia, but it's up for me. I went north and, up and down the state, right? Orlando, Gainesville, South Georgia. But this time I did not drive. Bo and Jason and Dave, who, Dave Connolly, everybody knows who these guys are, man. They formed this Bold Promotions, and they put their money where their mouths were, right? They always wanted to promote a race to feature stock and super stock racers. It was basically a big money bracket race for class cars. And we had a very fun time. Friday, Saturday. It was supposed to be Sunday as well, but what they did, because inclement weather was coming in, they rolled 2 races into one, and basically gave away $20,000 on Friday and $40,000 and $50,000 on Saturday. And it was a whole lot of fun. I think they had around 190 cars total, which I felt like was really good for the first year. And they kind of did the whole, and the Peter and Kyle style, right? Giveaways, best losing package, best wheel stand, best burnout, best this, best that, like all kinds of awards, all kinds of fun, random draws, cash money going out everywhere, Calcuttas, like every big money bracket race trick in the book, except for class cars. And we had a good time. Aaron Allison won the points overall. Joel Warren won the 50K over Britt Cummings. And Joe Santangelo, who got like an offender bender on his way down there, picked up $40,000 over Michael Brand. And it was just a really fun time. Everybody was very pleased, I think. Like the general consensus was, wow, isn't this great? We made the best of a tough situation. Jeff Miles up there did some surgery on a computer. It was like open heart surgery, but he got going, and we had a good time. So I think they're on to something with that.
Well, I'm glad it went well. I know that there's a couple others that are looking at doing something like that for the class cars. There's plenty of big money bracket races around for guys that have, top dragster type or super comp type dragsters. And I think it's nice that the stock and super stock guys are getting a little bit of love too, because they, as a general rule, you're not allowed all the electronics in stock and super stock. You're not allowed the lay boxes. You can't, go with crosstalk. You can't do. So it's difficult for them to be competitive against somebody who's got $10,000 worth of electronic enhancements just to make sure he gets a good green light.
Right.
So it's nice that those guys, have a place where they can go race amongst themselves and race for some big bucks. So I hope it's the beginning of something great.
I agree. $50,000. That's a lot of money. I will take that if I could have the opportunity to go get it. 50K. All right, let's get into a couple other things. I guess we have had a couple of comments I guess we'll address real quick. Like Troy says that 4 wide is not fun to watch. Just stick to 2 wide. Much better racing, easier to watch as a spectator. Like that's definitely one man's opinion, Troy, and I appreciate it. You're not the only one who's ever said that, but I could produce a whole bunch of people that would say the opposite, that they love it, right? And I guess it's one of those things. It's a matter of opinion what you think is the right thing to do. Like I'm sure somebody doesn't like the idea of dirt at Bristol, but I want to see it.
Yeah, and I think, 4 wide is done twice a year. Okay, we're not changing the entire sport. Every track in the country is not adding more lanes. We run 4 wide twice a year. And for the casual fan, it is a big deal. All you have to do is look at ticket sales in Charlotte the last time we ran 2 wide in the spring and when we ran 4 wide in the spring. Look at ticket sales in Vegas when we were running 2 wide in the spring, when we run 4 wide in the spring. There are a lot of fans that want to come see it. There are certainly plenty of people that have exactly that opinion. That, you know what, real racing is supposed to be one-on-one and da-da-da-da. And I get it. I'm not saying you're wrong. but I think twice a year it's okay. And if it really rubs you that raw, then watch NASCAR that weekend, and we'll be back, the following week or 2 weeks later with a 2-wide race that hopefully you'll love. And and I think the same thing. Like the NASCAR, there were plenty of people in NASCAR that thought road racing was the stupidest thing ever.
Yep.
Road racing is not for stock cars. Road racing is for sports cars. Road racing is not for stock cars. And for years, they ran 2 road races a year. And the hardcore NASCAR fans just simply didn't watch. I mean, you know what? You can find something else to do on a Saturday when they're running in Watkins Glen. If you really hate road racing that much, just come back the next week when they're back on the ovals. And for somebody that doesn't care for 4-wide, I get it. I'm not going to tell you have to love it. I'm not going to, but it's 2 races a year. Come back next week and we'll have a 2-wide race.
Well, exactly. And you can have your strong opinion about everything. Certainly knows I have strong opinions about things that I like and I don't like. But ultimately, there are enough people that do like it. They've already demonstrated, right? There's enough people. They built a second track. And like this gentleman, Top Fuel 173 says, it was better when there was only 1 race, but now that there's 2, it doesn't feel as special, which I totally disagree with. And the reason I say that is I was at the inaugural Vegas one, and those people were super excited. You had people coming in from Australia to Vegas. Like, that's not a terrible jump from Australia to Vegas to see something that they've never seen before. Whereas to go to Charlotte after going from Oz, man, that's another just added link. So I think it can handle it, and we're all good.
One on each side of the country, I think, is fine. There were a lot of people on the West Coast that, couldn't make, for whatever reason, whether it was financial, whether it was time, whether it was whatever, couldn't make the trek to Charlotte, but they could make the trek to Vegas. And I still find it interesting that literally to this day, and Joe, I'm sure you have the same group of friends, I have a group of people that will stand here in my shop and tell me 4-wide is stupid, 4-wide is ridiculous, you should never run 4-wide, that's the dumbest thing anybody there. But I just want to see it once. I just want to see it once.
Yes.
And like, okay, that's fine. And if it gets somebody to come see it, and I also know, they do a lot of fan surveys and research and things at the Bruton Smith track. That's just kind of a standard thing. And the number of people that came to the 4-wide that had never been to an NHRA event before, that left going, wow, I had no idea that this is really what it is. And then they come back in the fall and watch it when it's in its regular format 2-wide, or maybe they go to another track that's close to them and watch it in its regular format 2-wide. So if it will get somebody to come to the track and give us a chance, I'm all for it.
Simple as that. Mark Stockseth out there says he agrees with one of our other guys. You got to see it. And then once you see it, you get it. And if you've never been, then it's not that your opinion is wrong, but you really don't have all the evidence. And it is definitely harder to watch 4 Top Fuel dragsters accelerating 0 to 330 miles per hour. Like, there's a whole lot going on, but that's what makes it fun. And things can't always just stay the same forever. We got to mix them up. We got to do new stuff. We got to try new stuff. And this is something we're doing and we're trying. And Bruton has built 2 amazing facilities, and that's it. We're doing it. You want to hear something funny?
Sure.
Jolie Stanfield taking a break from her honeymoon to watch WFO radio with Joe and Alan. And she says, I like the 4-wide because it gives a different procedure for the drivers. Forget about that, Jolie. Happy nuptial. Congratulations. Jolie and Aaron Stanfield getting married this past weekend, and now they are married, and she's Jolie Stanfield, and that is great news. And she's commenting on WFO. Priorities. Good call, Jolie.
So wait, the kid won the Factory Showdown Championship. He's won now 6 or 7 races in a row. He won the Top Dragster Championship in the division. He won a Pro Stock race and Factory Showdown race on the same day, making something that hadn't happened since Phoenix in '92. And now he got married.
And now he's married. Yeah. Yes.
Is there anything? I mean, is there anything wrong with the kid? He's a good-looking, well-spoken, very smart kid. He works on the car. He gets it. He's got to have a fault someplace, right? Maybe he just sucks at badminton. I just want. Tell me something Aaron's not good at. That's all I want to know. Tell me something Aaron's not good at.
Yeah, respectful, nice kid. Like, you'd want to, like, if your kid looked up to him, you'd be like, yeah, that's okay. Jolie, what's up with Aaron? Give us his flaws. List them right there. Like, top 3 flaws of Aaron Stanfield. Go. But
Aaron Stanfield is the kind of kid my mom wished I was.
Me too.
I wouldn't even
Well, I think it has a lot to do with, and she says thank you. But yes, they are now married. So excellent.
Awesome. Good for them.
And so here's the other angle. 4 wide sucks. Why mess if it ain't broke? To try new stuff. Why put dirt on Bristol? Right? Why do that? Everybody loves Bristol. Bristol's great. Why do that? Because why not, man? Let's try stuff. Let's be flexible, improvise, adapt, overcome new things, throw stuff at the wall, make it better. And again, the spring race in Vegas answers the question. It was poorly attended, slightly not great. And since 4 wide has been happening, it's been very well attended. So on the strength of that alone, that's it. If you don't like it, that's like Alan says, you don't have to watch that week, but you will. Speaking of watching, I don't know if we talked about the television ratings last week, Alan. They were extremely strong at the high point, just under 2 million, which is a big number. I know we had the NASCAR connection, but that's the point. You know, car fans. Oh, look at those cars. Check out these. They're different. They go faster. What's up with that? Just want to celebrate that success for a moment.
Yeah, that's definitely a good start to the season. Hopefully we can build on that momentum in Vegas and then get rolling. You know, I think part of it, and I don't mean to sound negative. I think it's a great number, but I think part of it is just that it's been so long since there's been a drag race on TV, right? I mean, everybody's going, when are they coming back? When are they coming back? You know, should have been Pomona, and you know, we ended a little bit early in Vegas. We started a little bit late, and I think everybody just needed a drag racing fix. I hope now that we can continue to build on that momentum that we started. I hope that, you know, those folks will tune in for the 4 wide, and then I hope that they'll tune in for the next race after that. And we can just keep rocking our way down the road.
Exactly. Just build the momentum, because we have yet to get momentum going. It's just starting. We've had 1 race, and everyone is super excited. So let's see how it all works out as we get closer. All right, let's talk about Atlanta. The final Southern Nationals at Atlanta Dragway. No announcements have been made, but if you've been tracking the story and you add 1 and 1 and 1, you might come up with some conclusions. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but I know there's going to be a final race at Atlanta Dragway. It's going to be the final Southern Nationals. They're going to run their ET schedule for the remainder of the year. So for the rest of the year, it's going to be regular stuff at Atlanta Dragway. You know, maybe it's sold, but I hope I get to go to that one just to kind of to close the book on the Southern Nationals at Atlanta Dragway. I've always liked the facility. It's, you know, it's a Southern thing, and the final one, we're all going to take great care with it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of pretty good Atlanta memories. I think I've been there every year since '92, and yeah, you know, I am assuming, and I have no inside information whatsoever, but I'm assuming that they sold the property. That's what makes sense to me.
1 and 1 equals 2. It just makes.
It's not breaking news that it has been for sale.
Right.
You know, the hope was that somebody would buy it and keep it a racing facility. But the announcement coming out that this would be the final Southern Nationals and that at the end of the year, you know, drag racing would cease, sure sounds to me like they sold it to somebody who's not going to keep it a drag racing facility, who's going to use the land for something else. But again, I've got no inside information. That seems like a logical conclusion. But either way, I'm looking forward to going there one last time and, you know, reliving some of the memories. And I'm sure it'll be, I'm really looking forward already to what Brian comes up with, because he has gotten so adept at diving into the archives and digging up all of these things. You know, when we were going into Gainesville, you know, for the 50th year, and even this past year, you know, the collage or the montage that he put together about, hey, remember this, that were all just incredible Gainesville moments. And I'm sure he's going to be diving into Atlanta. The same thing. The only thing that makes me feel old is when you, hey, let's get the Nitro Time Machine. Let's go back. It was a long time ago at a racetrack far, far away. And I go, hey, look, there's me standing there behind the car. Right. So, you know, but I hate that it's going to be the last one, but I'm grateful for all the history that we had there and all the good times that I got to have there. It'll be weird not having it on the calendar next year, but then, you know, the last couple of years have been so weird. I don't know that you even notice something like that anymore.
Right. My Atlanta experience is limited. I've been to maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7, but that was enough. And it was eventful because I remember the old Bob Vandergrift stopping on the track and getting out angry. I remember Wilk blowing up a bunch of stuff. It's been an eventful event. Most of all, though, scarfing down Arby's sandwiches over and over again with Jason Logan to promote Arby's a year or 2 ago. that was fun. And I got a renewed respect for Arby's, and actually had one just the other day because of that. Somehow it was better at the track for whatever reason. But let's hope. And they
to figure out how to sneak out of there the back way. So getting to join that cool kids club I'm going to miss that.
Yes. No, that is, and we'll never tell, but that is fantastic. Are you kidding? To go
I'll
out
tell everybody after it's over with.
After the track is gone. Yeah, what you did was this. And it's like, what? And there are a couple of those, which I'm thrilled to know one or two, and that's enough. That's enough. Hopefully, they've said that they're going to use the proceeds, if assuming what we are assuming is true, that they're going to use the proceeds to upgrade facilities, which is something that I actually deem to be very important if I'm a casual observer. Like, all facilities have gotten so much better, ballparks, stadiums, arenas, concert venues, like the for pre-pandemic, right? Like, you want to have a nice clean bathroom. You want to have a place to bring your wife or your daughter where they're going to feel comfortable. I've always said, like, if you make it more palatable to the ladies out there, you can sell a whole bunch more tickets, right? It's as simple as that. Hopefully that will be the plan. And if that is the plan, then I think it'll be worth it. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, here's one that says, let's see what he says. Alan, been going to the Gators for the last 20 years, always buy general admission tickets on the pit side of the track, but not this year. They tell me general admission is the other side. You couldn't handle the walk all the way. Like, I don't know what to say about that, Gary. Gainesville, the spectator side, has always been general admission, from what I understand, and I've been going for a long time.
Yeah, whatever the financial situation is, I'm certainly not going to tell somebody, well, you can afford a few more bucks to do whatever. But I think that it's nice to go, and there's still fans that go back and go, well, it used to be I'd watch the first round from the starting line and the second round from the finish line and then somewhere in the middle, and I kind of like that, and I get that. You can still do that, certainly in Gainesville on the spectator side. But I really like the fact, when I went to the races as a spectator, that I could get up, go get a cheeseburger, go to the bathroom, go whatever, and I still had a seat. Because there was a time when I went to Pomona somewhere in the 1980s. I literally drove over on Friday after work to go. I got there early. Basically, the whole place was general admission, other than maybe way up by the starting line. And I went and sat in my seat. And if I left, then I'd have to come back and search for someplace to sit again. I like knowing that, my seat's there waiting for me. And I think the vast majority of the fans feel that way. It's even more so if you're going with your family or your friends, right? You go.
We just lost your audio, Alan. We lost your audio. Like, it sounded like your Bluetooths, your Bluetooth, they died. And this happened middle of the show last week too. But it just went on to the other thing. Here's what I will say to you folks out there, Gary and stuff. Like, Gary, like, I feel badly for it. And someday I'm going to be in a similar situation, and I don't look forward to it. But there's nothing that I can do and Alan can do. Like, we can't do. Like, that's a ticketing deal. And, there's a lot of little gripes always about that. Like, with the bathroom wasn't close enough to where I'm going, or there wasn't enough concessions, or there's always, when you're doing outdoor promotions, there's always going to be gripes. And I get it. And I think yours is valid and important, and I appreciate it. But on WFO radio, like right now, this is not the time for it, because there's nothing we can do. And the audience is not entertained by that. They're not learning by that. They're just feeling like, oh man, I feel bad for Gary. And so I would hope that people wouldn't use this as an opportunity, WFO, the fact that we're live, to register complaints. Like, this is not the complaint department. For the complaints, you got to use Alan's announcer email address.
Yeah, go ahead, do that. Announcer at NHRA.com. Sorry, my stupid phone. Like, for the last couple of weeks, when I turned on the Do Not Disturb,
yes,
I didn't get calls. Well, I get an incoming call and it shuts me off. So I don't know. Anyway, it went to voicemail, and hopefully it won't bother us again. But the reserve seat thing is so important if you're going with your family. I mean, can you imagine walking into a place with, your wife and a couple of kids going, oh, there's two. Well, there's two. Okay, well, why don't you take Timmy and I'll take Becky, and, we'll meet back here. And you can't do that. You've got to know that you've got a place to sit. It's like that in every other big league professional sport.
Yep.
And, it's like that here. In baseball, they have the bleachers. They have a place where you can buy a general admission ticket, go out there and sit. But if you want to sit in the premium seats, you want to sit around home place, you want to sit next to the dugouts, you want to sit, then those seats are reserved. You lock them down, and they certainly are a little bit more expensive, but you know where your chair is. And, NHRA is going that direction. You can't, as you said, you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep making it more palatable for the casual fan to come out. And if I'm a casual fan and I come out and go, there's no place for me to sit, I'm probably not coming back.
Absolutely.
You need to know that you've got your spot, that it's going to be there after you go to the bathroom. It's going to be there after you go get a beer or cheeseburger, that you're still going to have your spot to come back to. And, I'm sorry about the walk. At the Bruton Smith tracks, they've got tunnels, which make it a little bit shorter, a little bit simpler. But, Gainesville is just a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I remember, we've been going to the race since 1980. And I don't know if the first year we didn't have reserved seats or we did have reserved seats. Like, I don't know. I'd have to ask my dad. But to not have reserved seats, like, okay, now at Gainesville, you can do it because the grandstand is massive. But that wasn't always the case. And you're right. Like, I like to know where I'm going to be. I like to have a base camp and then move around. And that's the truth at a baseball game right now. Like, I will get a reserved seat. Like, there's no such thing as a non-reserved seat unless you get like bleacher creature seats out there at Yankee Stadium. But even then, I'm moving around and I just, maybe I don't use my seat the whole time, but I know that I've got it. And I'll usually watch the first 3 innings from there. That's where we're at. And I've noticed some traffic out there, people who want to use the opportunity to take the sport back. Like, we need to cut ticket prices in half and we need to make it just a casual thing and not a professional motorsport anymore and have it just be grassroots. And, that's the wrong idea for what to do with a sport that's on Fox. And it's just a wrong ideal. And something that we're also obviously having trouble doing is getting the word out there. Like, Troy is one of our viewers, and he says, did the pros just go down to 3 qualifying passes, or did I miss one? Because I've always seen this year 3 qualifying passes, and there have been 4 in the past. And why is that? And Troy, there's only been 1 race this year. There were 3 qualifying sessions. Last year, that number was reduced to 2 because of the pandemic that we are still going through. And this year, at tracks that have a Good Friday, there are 3. And Gainesville is one of them, and I am under the impression that Vegas will be one of them.
Yeah, Vegas will be as well. And the situation was made, I guess I thought everybody knew the story by now. In the pandemic, expenses were down. We were allowed very limited number of fans. The ticket sales for NHRA is a big source of revenue, right? We're not NFL. We don't get $100 million from TV, whether there's a fan in the stands or not. Ticket sales are a big part of the revenue for NHRA. And so they went to the Saturday-Sunday option for the pros, which is 2 runs on Saturday to qualify, race on Sunday. It saves them wear and tear on the race car. It saves them hotel rooms. It saves them rental cars. It saves them a ton of stuff while we can get back to work, because some of the other stuff was reduced as well. Some of the payouts were reduced, some of the other things, simply because there wasn't as much money coming in. Well, now we're kind of working back that direction. You mentioned a lot of the tracks. Friday is a huge day for them. So they've got the 1 qualifying session on Friday, which still saves some time, some money, some travel. Most of the teams will fly in Friday morning and then make their 1 run. So you don't have the Thursday night hotel room. You don't have the extra day of the rental car. It's still saving them a substantial amount of money. Hopefully, when everything gets back to where we can sell 100%, we can do the things and we can do it, and everything goes back to where it should be, then we'll go back to 4. But for right now, last year we did what we had to do to survive. This year we're taking steps to go back, 1 step closer to what used to be normal.
I'm a little stunned at how many people don't realize that we just went through a pandemic for a year, and that it damaged the economy and it damaged everything. And everybody was, reaching out for PPP money, and that had an effect. Like, there was an actual effect beyond 500,000 people no longer here. There were all kinds of effects associated with it, and it's going to take a while to recover. I think the 3 passes is great. I felt like it was a great bonus. If we were going to do 2 again this year, I was a little bummed. We advanced it to 3, but you're right. Like, saves a hotel. It saves a day. It saves a lot of money. And the gentleman is out there and he says, yeah, but they spend money testing. What's the difference? Well, not everybody spends money testing. And the test sessions are relatively limited compared to that extra run at every event. 22 events times that run. If that run is, $8,000 like it used to be. You add it up, that's a lot of money saved, not including the crew and the hotels, et cetera, and so on. We got to try, and we are making it easier financially on the teams. That's what will give us more teams. And I don't have a problem with it at all.
It's just, I actually kind of grew fond a little bit of the Saturday Sunday format. The two qualifiers, especially if we had 17 or 18 or 19 cars. You don't now have a couple of runs you can just throw away, knowing that, don't worry about it, I can sneak into the field, no problem. It really kind of ramped up the pressure for the two that we ran on Saturday, and it made it a little more interesting. Then you would see a guy comes out and smokes the tires in the first session. Now he comes back in the second session, and instead of, going for a top 3 or 4 spot like he normally would, or she normally would, it's like, we got to get this thing in the field. And if they sneak it down there and put it in 12 or 13, now you've got some really intriguing round one matchups. And it certainly had its own entertainment value. I'll be very happy when we get back to 4. I'd love to get to the point where we have 19 of them. Well, 19, but anyway, right now we're doing what we need to do. Last year we did what we had to do to survive. Now we are trying to grow and get back into, what we used to call normal. And it's going to take some time.
Exactly. And people will always complain. And, he's just asking like, well, but they're on the property. What difference does it make? And the answer is you divide total expenses by
email.
Yeah. NHRA announcer at
NHRA.com.
You divide total runs made on the season by total expense, and you calculate cost per run. And then you can figure it out as simple as that. Someone asking about Victor Cagnazzi. I can tell you that he was at the Southern Sportsman Showdown, running his Copo Camaros, and he was out there, and it was great to see Victor, and he was doing it all himself. And I saw him putting up a ladder, taking down the awning, all that stuff. Victor is still a hardcore racer out there in the Lucas Oil Series category, stock or super stock. So we'll see. Let's see what else. I agree with you on the 2 sessions that it definitely added. And there will be some races with 2 sessions this year. It added an intensity. Like, hey, man, it wasn't, Jimmy, like you said at the start of this, giving the best of the best so many opportunities. By the 4th qualifying session, they will have it figured out. How many times did Jimmy Prock go into the final qualifying session not qualified, and then he goes like 1 or 2, and then they go on to win the race? 4 sessions is maybe too many for the best of the best. You want to give the Joe Morrisons and those guys an opportunity to like get savvy on everybody and get in the field. I kind of like it, but I do think that 3 is the right number.
Well, 3 is the number for now for the vast majority of the races. You said a couple of them will be 2, but we just need to get back in business. That's what we need to do. We need to get back in business. There are still a lot of local places that have the clamp down a little bit on how big a crowd we can have, what we can do, various things. So, we need to crawl back into it, and going into Gainesville and getting in and out of there without, as far as I know, I haven't heard anything, without having any kind of big issues, any, big complaints from the local health authorities or anybody like that. Going to Vegas, we need to do the same thing. And then hopefully some of the places that are still being a little apprehensive about what can be done will look at that and go, hey, look, NHRA has got a plan in place. They're doing the right things. They're being as careful as they can. They're doing what they can. And so let's go ahead and let them hold their event here. Last year, simply part of the reason that some of the events weren't held were simply because the local authorities said, no, no matter what we proposed, no matter what they said, no, you're not doing it. So we need to, be careful and do what we got to do, and then get back to it. And once we get back to the point where, the pandemic gets behind us and things start going back to what used to be normal, then I think that things will go back to what used to be normal.
Well, exactly. And this is kind of a crazy time because we are like opening back up and people are super excited to get back to 2019 life, and they're willing to just kind of forget everything that happened and move forward. But there are still some things that we are dealing with and we will continue to deal with. And one, there will be scar tissue, if you will, and we're going to try to work it all out. Alan, great job. I had a good time. Any final thoughts, anything we did not cover that you wanted to cover, you wanted to discuss? I know you got a thing you're doing with folks, I guess, at Summit, which is great. Anything that we did not drop on the audience today?
No, I think we got most of the stuff covered from last week. If you are a bracket racing fan, the Spring Fling is taking place in Las Vegas this week. It actually starts tomorrow. So there's going to be, a lot going on. Kind of like what I said last week. I think, if you don't have something to do this weekend, there won't be NHRA national event on TV. Check and see what your local racetrack is doing, whether it's an NHRA sanctioned drag strip or whether it's a dirt track or whether it's I don't care if you got a motocross track in your neighborhood, something. If there's an event at your local racetrack and you don't have anything to do, go out and buy a ticket and buy a cheeseburger. They'll support it. They will very much enjoy it. And I don't know. I was very surprised when I went and sat and watched a race for the first time in a long time, how much I really enjoyed it. And, I'm going to get back to that. If there's anything going on in my neighborhood this week, then I'm going to go buy a ticket, buy a beer, and sit in the grandstand with everybody else.
Well, and you should write an article about that for National Dragster, I think.
Yeah, I should. But it is on newsstands now.
On newsstands now. I got mine the other day. I haven't read the article yet. I like to relax, and it can't be like under duress reading the Reinhart report. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we'll connect again next week.
Look forward to it. See you then.
There he goes. NHRA's Alan Reinhart with us here on WFO Radio. Yes, the Spring Fling rocks, and also Funny Car Chaos. I'm getting ready to talk about that in a few minutes. And later on this week, like tomorrow, we will have Josh Hart. Josh Hart is going to be on the show at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to connect with how great a story, right? Like the first-time winner in his first race, and he's got his new scheme that's going to be rolling out for the next race, which is kind of cool. I'm excited that Josh Hart going to be on the show, and I'm excited to have him on the show. But then on Thursday, it's going to be Greg Anderson at 4:00. So we're going to have GA on Thursday at 4, and we're going to have Josh Hart tomorrow at 4 on Tuesday. And get your comments in the comment section. If you guys want to banter back and forth, I'm all for it, right? Alan had to run a little bit early today, so I kind of rushed through. I do want to give some comments about the Southern Sportsman Showdown and talk about some of the stuff that they did and tie it together with my, racing fandom and what Alan Reinhart had to say. We'll get to all that, but I do want you to put your final comments in the comment section, and I will tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do this show. Like, I'm just shout them out, right? Total Seal Piston Rings. If you are a fan of WFO Radio and you're having an engine built, you would definitely use Total Seal, right? Like, not only do all these great engine builders and the best of the best around the world use Total Seal, but if you listen to the podcast, you find out why they're better and what they do, and their customer service is tremendous, and they support WFO Radio. Like, that should be a total lock. If it's not, like, I don't know what to do. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, but you could get your license. You could get your Super Gas license, your Super Comp license, your Top Alcohol Funny Car license. Frank and Lana doing a great job at Frank Hawley's. Marvin Rodak. Marvin is going to be out there at Funny Car Chaos. Didn't bring up Funny Car Chaos with Alan, but I do want to talk about it. Del Worsham is going to bring his big show car down there, and I think it is a really interesting event. And special events are super cool, but it's not a professional motorsport, which is where I think a lot of people get confused. Marvin's not confused. Marvin's going to have great coffee on him. He's going to be working. He's going to be doing. He's going to be having a good time. Why don't you get on his answer machine right now, 817-924-6821, and order some of that brand new coffee he just whipped up for this event, and enjoy it while you watch the event, which will be on Flow Racing, incidentally. Those of you people who, Flow Racing, not a sponsor, but Marvin is a sponsor, and so I happily mention Flow Racing. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed in Nitro Fish Racing, of course, where you can get the 10th anniversary WFO Radio t-shirts. Face coverings, the WFO Radio face coverings. Yes, you might think, I never need to wear one of those ever again. Well, if you've been vaccinated and you feel great and everybody around you has been vaccinated, but I am going to keep one around just in case the situation gets a little cray. That's just me. And, I will never be able to talk everybody into anything. That's not possible. What I think is right or wrong, or what I think is correct or not correct, or what I think about your opinions, it doesn't matter. We can share our opinions. There's an old saying about opinions. Everybody's got one. And, it is what it is. Everybody has got an opinion, and we share them. And what happens with sharing them? Either they get used or they don't get used. But that's it. So here's the deal. Funny Car Chaos has generated incredible interest for funny cars. Like, you just have to have a funny car, a big show funny car, or an injected gas funny car. Like, you have to have a funny car, and then you're in for Funny Car Chaos. and it is relatively new, and it's exciting. It's a happening. You're gonna have all these funny cars. So why would you not be there? But I see some people like talking about like, could this be, like a threat to NHRA? And the answer is absolutely not. This is a supplement, and that's what we need. We need people to realize that there needs to be supplemental opportunities for racers to race their stuff, especially if you have a funny car. That's why they're doing such a great job with it. There are people that don't care about anything other than having a funny car, and they want to have places where they can race their funny car. And right now, if you got an alcohol funny car, you can run the Lucas Oil Alcohol Series. You got a Big Show funny car, you can run the Camping World Series, and that's it. Match race. So these guys at Funny Car Chaos are filling a need. And I feel like it's very similar to what we saw this past weekend at the Southern Sportsman Showdown, where you have a class car and you've worked so hard to create this car and maintain it and get it up to snuff and be under the index or make it beautiful. And where can you race it? Well, you can race it at the NHRA and the Lucas Oil Series and, some singular events, Dutch Classic, that kind of stuff. But Bold Promotions and Jason and Bo and Dave Connolly decide to do something special for everybody and create a special trophies and special prizes and just to supplement why somebody might want to build a class car. Does that mean NHRA is going away? Does it mean they're doing a bad job? Does it mean no? That's where you win Wallies and World Championships. People are always going to win Wallies and World Championships. But if there's a supplement, like an additional place where maybe you could race, like that's always a good thing. The big money bracket races. It's always a good thing. The more events, the more reason people will build cars, the more people will create their podcasts, the more people will be requesting sponsorships. People will know about it. It's a good thing. And I had a great time out there. I got to say, I had some Giddy Piggy grilled cheeses, put on like 4 pounds. It was all great stuff. And I really appreciate being invited up there to call the race. All right, let's see what the comments are in the comment section. Let's see what everybody has to say. Let's see. So just to Troy, don't go to the tracks where you are not welcome. It's not about being welcome. And I just, like the pandemic, man, like, do you think people wanted to do that? And there are people who think that, but I'm not one of them. I feel like everybody pretty much universally thinks it stinks, but they were trying to keep public health safe. And this 500,000 people of, your friends and neighbors. Here's one for you. Joe always gets angry at the end of the show, right? Because of the comments, but that's not true. A very good personal friend of mine, like very good, dating back to 1996, radio friend of mine. His dad just died. I found out Saturday night. Got COVID 10 days ago. And now he's dead. And so to see people flippantly and casually talking like it was BS or a hoax or not real, or that the reason we weren't allowed to race is because states don't like drag racing, and like, come on, that's all nonsense, guys. You just need to have people that are willing to tell you that you're full of it. It's nonsense. Okay. Everybody was doing whatever they thought was the right thing to do in the moment of critical crisis to keep people alive. Some did some things, some did other things. Some things were right. Some things were wrong. We're coming out of it. People are getting their shots. We're coming out of it. But let's not go back and try to make it something it wasn't. That the reason people weren't allowing us to race was because they didn't like drag racing. That's crazy. If you ask every team, I believe the overwhelming response would be for us to return to 4 qualifiers. We are there to race. I wish I knew who that was. I don't know the answer. It depends on their funding, right? What's their funding? Do they have the funding to do it? I don't know. I'll ask around. Hey, all my Top Fuel Nitro friends. I kind of feel like they negotiated with the NHRA through the Pro Racers Organization. Like, they have a say. This is something that they worked out together. It's not really edict passed by the NHRA and then everybody just gets in a line and accepts it. Pro is involved to what what level do they get exactly what they want? I don't know, but I think you're off on that one. What about the 4 wide races? It's a shame some of the teams won't be able to run in one of the lanes, so tactical lane choice will be made, which is the same for some of the teams that won't have a lot of data. Yeah, that is also a shame. That is something, but that's one of those moments where you have to just be flexible and just deal with it because, and Kev is one of our Patreons. He was on our Patreon Ignition show last night watching from the UK. We had a good time, but I feel like that's one of the things that, down the road, once we get beyond this crisis, we will revert. But right now, it's just one of those go with the flow kind of things. Go along with the program. My dad, United States Marine Corps, was a grunt and M60 machine gunner prior to being a drill instructor. And being out there, they marching, like, going on a hump is what they call it, right? Where you're just going for 10 miles or 20 miles and you're carrying the thing and your feet are, and I didn't do this. My dad did a really good job of instilling the results of it into me. To have someone with you that is just constantly complaining about everything that could maybe be a little bit better is not a good thing. And I'm not saying you're doing that, Kev, but the tactical lane choice, the teams on the 4 wide will miss out on a run in one of the runs. And maybe one of those people will be in a run in a lane that they didn't get to qualify in, maybe. And when that happens, it will be a bummer for them. But then, do you really think about it? The reason that they're there is because they didn't qualify well enough to get to select the lane over 3 other people. Isn't it a meritocracy? You earn that. So, and ultimately, you have to finish first or second. So while it is a bit of a bummer, I'm not that bummed out about it, especially considering I'm just thrilled to be racing, just thrilled to be able to go somewhere, and really just thrilled to be alive and have most of the people that I know still alive with me. That's where my priorities are. But everyone's different. You're allowed to think whatever the heck you want. Let's see. Glad to see Greg Anderson get a win at the Gators. Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned that. Greg will be on Thursday, 4:00. Safety is first priority still, of course. Why tear down half of the spectator seating at the Gators? I have sat down there for the past 20 years, best seats in the house. I don't know what you're talking about there. Tear down half the spectator seating. Did I miss that? Is that a story? Maybe it is. They're going to tear down half the spectator seating at Gainesville. Why would they do that? I don't think they're doing that. We'll see. Funny Car Chaos. Yes. Spring Fling rocks. Big money bracket racing, baby. Love bracket racing. Funny Car Chaos, Motorplex Stream on Flow Racing. Thank you, Billy. Super excited. Are they allowing fans here in Vegas for the Spring Fling event, Alan? I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like given the number of fans that are going to go out there to the bracket race, you could probably figure out how to get in. Just saying. Not telling you to do anything illegal, but I really feel like if you really want to get out to the Spring Fling, you'll probably be able to get in. It's not like a massive spectator kind of thing. Even if you had to hang on the side of the road and one of the teams brought you in as a crew. Ooh, dishonesty. If you really want to go to that race, I feel like you'll be able to get in. Call the track. What? Wait, what? Stay safe, guys. Great podcast. I would buy it. Well, let me introduce you to Patreon. Patreon.com/WFO radio, where if you would like, you can pay for the show and get added bonus content. Jay Thomas says, great show, Joe and Alan. Keep your eye on Josh. Commendable. We're going to talk to him tomorrow. If you guys got any questions for Josh Hart, be ready. Normally, I would tell you to email them, but you'll be on here and you'll be able to ask. We'll hit Josh with a couple of questions. So bummed we can't go to Funny Car Chaos. It's going to be great. Funny Car Chaos. It's a new energy. They're doing a great job, just like the World Door Slammer Nationals, just like the Southern Sportsman Shootout, just like Funny Car Chaos, just like people empowered to do new things. But it's not the same when you do 2 races or 4 races or 5 races. Like I watched these guys this past weekend, and to their credit, amazing stuff. One race takes a lot of work, more work than most people can handle. And the NHRA does usually 24, this year, I guess 22, town to town, over the country. Like How many people just totally discredit the effort that it takes? This is a 70-year-old business. Yeah, like as if someone can just jump in and just start doing that. You know, the lights out races are great. They're great. They've created their own thing. There's 2 or 3 places for those cars to race. Try 22. It's on television. It's on Fox. We got our own in-house streaming stuff. You got your own house, everything. Like, to me, that's to be celebrated. And why most people aren't doing that, I don't know. Pickle Rick hasn't given up on NASCAR fantasy. My picks just stink. Okay. Thank you very much, Scott. I figured you had just totally quit, given how bad you were doing. But I guess not. You're just terrible. Thank you very much, Jock. You use Total Seal. Steve Johnson uses Total Seal. There's another one. He's going to get a win. You guys are going to get a win. What are you going to do when you win? Don't think about it. All the way with WFO, says Jay. Thank you very much. Yeah, man. We use Total Seal. It's Steve Johnson Racing. There you go, Total Seal, guys. But I want some legacy. I want some, what do they call it in the auto industry? When you were like a Ford guy and then you switched to Chevrolet, the Capture or something. I want to get some people who are new to Total Seal because of the show. Thank you very much. And good call on Ryan Blaney. Yeah. No, I picked Ryan Blaney at the start of the year to have a breakout. It took me 6 races to get in, but we got in. That's what matters. Oh man, everybody is commenting, man. They're commenting. There's all comments. I got to go faster. Greg Lubin, who had a thrash. Southern Sportsman Showdown was a great event. We felt appreciated. You were appreciated. So much so that you went home and got another set of cylinder heads, Greg. Good job. Thanks for rocking WFO stickers on your car, by the way. Tim Wilkerson is bringing his Roadster to Funny Car Chaos to try to break the quarter-mile record. Yeah, Richard Hartman. I think Kevin Kinsley's going to drive it. I'm excited. That thing is radical. Great show. Happy to watch racing still locked down up north. Hopefully you guys will be getting out soon. Monica, love the WFO radio face covering. Michael Heiner, great show again. Thank you, Michael. Michael Heiner. Got to have Michael Heiner. Got to do another pro stock happy hour at some point. I think I have 4 of those covers. Everyone is scared about these new style events coming up. It's only giving the races more options, which also promotes the growth of the sport. But I don't know why everyone would be scared. I don't think everyone is scared. I think it is good. You want to have, it's healthy. It's healthy. We need people devoting their lives to racing, drag racing in particular, spending their disposable money on buying a car, a class car, a bracket car, a funny car. And you want to give them options. The days of having won anything. And I think they can all coexist and help each other thrive. But then again, I'm a teamwork kind of guy, which in drag racing, you know, is it's not really a thing. It's kind of all versus all, battle royal, all versus all. And I see it in the sponsorship hunt and I see it in promotional hunt. Like if I used to do on WFO, I would have a Don Schumacher driver and I would have a John Force driver and they would be on the same show. And neither would promote the show because their arch nemesis was also in the show. So they would forego promoting themselves because they didn't want to also promote their arch nemesis. This is years ago. We're beyond that now. But that was the thing in drag racing. And until the drag racer understands that we are a microbe on the butt of the NFL or any other entertainment, and we need to grow and we all need to work together to help that happen, facilitate it, we're still going to be stuck. And who's willing to work together and who's willing to not? That's what we need to find out. Push each other, help each other. And I say this as an independent contractor who occasionally, you know, who works with the NHRA and works with others. But my primary deal is this. This is it. WFO. Bringing on new sponsors all the time. Let's see what else people has to say. People's. NHRA has too much prestige to disappear like that. And the thought that it would even happen in spite of thousands of rumors last year by 5 different people. Most of the negative stuff comes from 10 guys. Do you know that? Going on there, posting, kind of feeling a little bored. You know, go on there and post some fake rumors. You get some reaction, get that little shot of dopamine. They're all reacting. Oh, look what they're saying about what I said. That's not true. And that also happens in all other forms of everything. Corey Savoy, on another note, the Yankees and Marlins looking good in spring training. That's right, Corey Savoy. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for lightening it up. Corey is my bud. I compare it to the mall car show where people get together to hang out and share love of the sport. Yes, exactly. Except we can go racing and we race and the cars are awesome. Much better than the mall car show because there's no actual sound or racing and a lot of talk And once you've heard all the stories in about 20 minutes, you're kind of bored. Drag racing is not that. WFO Radio is the best on the planet, just generally the best. Like, I love it, Jay. Thank you. Are you a Patreon with that kind of opinion, Jay? I don't know. I think maybe you're a candidate to become a Patreon. And did you see that we got these new fantastic Patreon certified? I can't hold it because it's too small. Certified Patreon buttons. It's a pin, right? That only certain select people get because they are members of our Patreon squad. We're making, like, locking them in. Let's see. Don't forget the March meet. Perfect example. Let's say, and I've never been to the March meet. I want to go, and I will go at some point, but I haven't been just yet. But it's a niche within drag racing, the nostalgia scene, the keeping the old school cars going. You see these cackle fests and you see those cars and you think, oh my God, they're so crazy. What would they be like on the racetrack? Well, you can go see them. There's a place. We don't have that stuff on the East Coast. That's kind of a West Coast thing. But they keep them going. I live my March meet stuff through Ron Capps. Well said, Joe. Thank you. Like, why do we have to fight against our own people? Always. Like drag racing fans. We're always fighting against our own drag racing fans, coming up with like BS lies, rumors, misinformation, fake information, fighting against the powers that be when we're not where we need to be just yet. Do you think we'll see Louis Bloom back when things normalize? Hope so. I want to see Louis Bloom as much as is possible. I don't know. I don't know the answer. And Jason Logan. When things get back to normal and we have 100% capacity, here's a different way to say it, okay? You guys don't log on to me. Oh, wait, forget what I'm about to say. VIP poster. Good show. You and Alan are great ambassadors for our sport. Thanks. Says Graham Light. Thank you, Graham. You as well. Your efforts in the sport are greatly appreciated until right now. And the fact that you managed the chaos all that time. Thank you. The fact is this, that right now, everyone should be working on their post-pandemic growth strategy. And I don't know about anybody other than myself that we see what's happening, and it might be in a month, or it might be in 6 months, or it might be in 8 months, or it might be in another year. But whenever it happens, there is going to be an explosion of energy from people who are free to go and to spend and enjoy, and they'll have a zest for life that is renewed and an appreciation of their family and their friends, and they're going to want to do all kinds of things that maybe they did kick to the back burner for a while because, they were on the wheel. They were the hamster on the wheel doing their thing. How many people have told you, oh man, I went to Drag Race back in the day. I used to like it, but I haven't been lately because, I'm super busy. To me, the attention should be on the post-pandemic growth strategy for drag racing, for motorsports, for humanity, for WFO, for everybody. It's going to be an unprecedented time in the human race. In fact, actually, no, we did have a pandemic in the 1918. And then afterwards, you had the roaring 20s, which went crazy. And then we had a big, obviously, the Great Depression. And then we won World War II. And look, we're here. People should be thinking about that. How can we capitalize on the new energy that is going to be out there after this thing is over? Do you think they are? I think they are. I hope they are. Let's see what Chuck says. Always appreciate listening to you and Alan on Tuesdays with all the great information and the updates you provide for our sport. I hope to see you both here in Vegas in a couple weeks for the Four Wides. I hope so, but no guarantees. I think Louis Bloom moved overseas. Louis has been back and forth overseas. You can move there, you can move back. But yes, he did get married. He moved overseas. I will be in the NHRA in Richmond in June. All right, Spider-Man. I hope to be there. When you guys start racing, and you know what? Normally I would tell you, yeah, I'm going to be there, but I don't know if I'm going to be there. Right? For people who have things to complain about, by the way, like my life is still up in the air. I don't even know where I'm going to be or what I'm going to be doing or if I'm going to be invited to do anything. And you know what? Am I angry about it? No. I'm just riding it out, using every moment I can for the best possible good. Like after this show, I'm going to go put window motors in my 98 Firebird. When you guys start racing battery cars full time, it is time to hang it up. Before you know, funny cars and rail cars will just be an exhibition race. Not okay, Troy, I have now decided, because I don't know how many times you've posted on WFO in the past, but I'm usually pretty good at getting that you are a negative guy, because every post you have made has been related to something negative. It's been generally negative. Now you're talking about the battery cars and a negative thing. I totally disagree. I think it's going to bring a renewed energy. And in case you haven't noticed, out there in the world, these battery cars are very popular right now. And people are bracket racing, and I happen to experience getting whooped by one. And that guy seemed super happy to go to the semifinals in his battery car with his family watching in the baby seat in the back. And that Cobra Jet 1400 and Ecopo and all of this stuff and Big Daddy Don Garlitz all disagree with what you're saying. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying your opinion is your opinion, and I disagree. We will always have gas and methanol burning cars, nitro burning cars of some level, unless something really crazy happens, just like there are still horses. And this is the analogy that was told to me. I did not create this, but once upon a time, Troy, someone like you probably had a horse at your house to do work, plow or carry something or pull a cart or something. But then the horses all went away from the regular people. But people still have horses. They use them for racing. They use them for showing. They use them for jumping. They use them for riding. They use them for fun. Horses are still a thing. It's just that everybody doesn't have to have a horse. But the people who want to have horses, people like us with race cars, they still got them. So, Troy, dude, positivity, brother. Let's see what else. They tore down the left side grandstands at Gaines and put in motorhome parking. Oh, I saw motorhome parking. They tore down more. I'd have to see a photograph. You know what? I'd have to see the ratio, because those motorhome spots are great. Did they tear down like the big giant grandstand right by the starting line? I don't know. I doubt that, because I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Robert. I'd have to see it. 1/3 of the were gone. Okay, so I lived it and I experienced it. And what I saw was actually a very good thing. The final third of the seats were almost never totally full. It was a place to go if you wanted to be away from everybody. I actually saw that and thought, what a good idea. Because those motorhome spots at Gainesville, there was no camping. Not in the track where you could see, there was very limited spots. Those spots go for a lot of money. A lot of money. People with a badass pusher camper, they want to come in there. The thing costs $400,000. They're willing to spend huge money to be right near the track. You're swapping out some bleachers for a beautiful campground with people that can give me a drink every once in a while. I'm all for it. How cool was it seeing Dom at the Gators? It was great. It was one of my favorite things. Man, I thought I was going to get out of here early. All these comments. You guys are awesome. You're commenting, baby. You're commenting. The spectator seats blew over in the storm recently. Somewhat, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Hey, buddy. Great show today. Thank you, Monica. You're awesome. Search him on Insta. Search who? Cross-pollination is good for the sport. It absolutely is. But you know what's bad for the sport? Pollination. The South Georgia Motorsports Park was covered in pollen. This is the second time. Orlando Speed World, pollen everywhere. Brandon Pez mentioned the pollen out there out of the groove. We have to figure a way to stop this pollination problem in the world. Get on that. Stop that one before. Like, pollen is definitely causing more problems to a lot of people, myself included. That's what we need to do. We need to stop the pollinization problem. Just happy to be back racing, whenever it is. Exactly. Having small organizations run events is good. Who knows? It probably helps drivers climb the ladder. Well, honestly, back when IHRA was a legitimate thing, no offense, IHRA, but right now you're just sanctioning tracks and bracket racing. When you had, look at the guys who came up through IHRA, guys like Terry McMillan and the Laganas and Clay. Like, it was great to have a B series or a secondary series or another series. It was very helpful. Look at the categories that came out of it: top sportsman and top dragster and pro modified, where you could try things and change things. Mountain Motor Pro Stock. It was nice to have a secondary series. Now, NHRA can live without it, but those secondary series are maybe these individual little promoters who are trying to make it. And I hope they do make it. And I was thrilled to be invited by Bold Promotions with the Southern Sportsman Showdown to announce their race. It was great. Great being with you the past 2 weeks. It has been fun. 3, really. I was on the mic 3 with Flow Racing and NHRA.TV and Motor Mania, which, by the way, first time working with Motor Mania, Mark and Joanne were great. I really loved working with them. Maybe I will never work with them again, or maybe I will work with them again. But they were pros. We had fun. My number one priority. Go out there and have fun. No negativity there, Troy. Come on, Troy. I'm joking with you now. You should feel like that this is a fun interaction. Jay Payne retired, going to another class. I will have to check, but Alan Reinhart just told us he sold all his stuff. I feel like Jay could probably retire if he wants, but we'll find out. Joe, I've been to the March meet, and I'm from across the pond. Come on, Joe. Just hasn't worked out, brother. It's the week before the Gator Nationals usually. I'm usually getting geared up for Gainesville, but I get it. According to Lewis's Insta, his wife is from Germany, and he was starting a new chapter in his life, and they moved there last year, and he has some beautiful photos. I follow Lewis, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I follow Lewis. Everybody follow Lewis. Perfect example of explosion of energy was Gainesville. Everything was open, and people came out and drove. It was an explosion of energy. There's all kinds of explosions of energy going on. Everybody knows that I'm from South Florida. South Beach is having an explosion of energy, too. They're not all good. Manage the explosion of energy. But it's coming, and it cannot be stopped. And how are we going to channel the energy, manage the energy, take advantage of the energy, make some money off the energy, build new fans who want to get out and do something they've never done ever in their lives before, like see a 330 mile per hour nitro car? Should we be marketing at the people who have never seen anything and are thrilled to see something incredible for the first time in their lives? I would hope so. I would hope that there's a whole plan. Well said. NDRL. Check out our website. We'll be racing in Norwalk, Indy, and other tracks this year. Great time, great people. Thank you very much. Send me some information. I would love to see it. What's up, Tom? Why weren't you with Monty Joe? You were close. You guys not ride together anymore? What's the deal? I'll have your WFO sticker on the bike. Thank you, Spider-Man. I appreciate it. And we want WFO stickers on as many cars as is possible. It's been amazing how many have put WFO stickers on, including Justin Ashley for one run, and then they blew off. We'll fix that in the future. Oh, my gosh. You guys are, speaking of pent-up energy, I got to go faster. Too many comments. Well, it's the Camping World Drag Racing Series. Exactly. Steve-O got 10 more horses this year. Thank you, 4 Valves. Yes. I think gasoline and the sound of racing. I love it, too. And it's not going anywhere, brother. Don't worry, because of what you just said. But if there was an electric car or a pair of electric cars or a comp eliminator class with electric cars, and the manufacturers were involved and they liked it and they continued to support the sport so we could keep on going, yes, that's what you do. That's all. But yeah, man, come on. Small block, go listen to Mike Crutchfield's car, and that's not going anywhere. Everybody wants more horses. Joe, your analogies and outlook are awesome. Thank you for letting some people hopefully see more clearly, says unknown Facebook user. I was really good at the analogy thing. I like them. Some people, especially right now, are trapped. They're trapped in a negative outlook, a negative circuit of anger. Their life is probably pretty good. They've got people who love them. They care about them. They've got toys. They play. They have fun. But you got to break the wheel of negativity. You got to bust out. You got to stop pointing out the absolute negative all the time about everything. And who am I talking to? Everybody and nobody. Everybody has got a moment in their life where they're like, they choose to be negative. There's moments in life where you choose to be negative for the right reasons. Like my great friend. It's about perspective. We're talking about drag racing and fun and a sport that we love. We'll keep it going. It's going to be okay. The most important thing you can do to make sure it is okay and we thrive is enjoy it greatly and have a super awesome time while doing it. And the best way to do that is to don't sweat the small stuff. Good point 10 minutes ago. Thanks, John. Negative people are bad for our sport. And negative people are bad, period. Negative people should try to free themselves from their negativity. It's been a thing now for a long time, and hopefully it will be one of the things that we can put in the rearview mirror. You know, everybody wasn't always this negative, guys. See, it has a lot to do with, now we're going beyond it. Thank God this is now on Reinhart Show. It has to do with the mobile devices and the social media. The mobile device and the social media are a toilet for negativity. People have a negative feeling, a negative experience, a negative thing happen to them. And so what do? They feel this pressure from the inside pushing out. They want to get rid of it. And so what do? They put it on the social media and they push it out there. That's the toilet analogy for those of you that like my analogies. Except the problem is then they feel better. And then they put this down and they go about their business with their friends and their loved ones and they're having a great time. And the rest of us who are on here, we're left with the stink. And that just encourages more and more. Watch Ghostbusters 2, guys. Hope to see you in Atlanta. Top Field 21. Yeah, Joe, me too. Racers to the rescue. Joe Morrison, my buddy. Craig Garland is watching. What's up, Craig? He was out there at the Southern Sportsman Showdown. CBD Ministries. May this year, Joe. Thank you, Ralph. Oh, here's Troy again. NHRA has gone downhill in the last 10 years. If you want to know the truth, read Jason Lyne's story from a while back about the NHRA big shots living in California, taking all the money and not paying the winners the right amount. I don't think it's fair to attribute that to Jason Lyne. Number one. Number two, that story, I don't think it's very fair. And three, Troy, more negativity, bud. How about a positive thing? Just try it. Try it right now. Positive story. NHRA has not gone downhill in the last 10 years. NHRA has gone uphill in the last 10 years, primarily since I have been there. But let's just take a quick second to think about what has happened since 2008. Well, we had a massive financial crisis and the sport survived. That crisis lasted from, 2008 to 2011, 2012. I arrived in 2012, and since then, they have added NHRA.TV live streaming of every event. That's not going downhill, Troy. That's being able to watch every run down the racetrack. By the way, no problems with NHRA.TV at Gainesville. Nobody anger, no crazy stuff. But notice nobody posted about it. Hey, no, there was no downtime for NHRA.TV. Wow, how weird. Nobody posts about that because that's the nature of people. You don't post about anything positive. You post about the negative. Anyway, bottom line, I disagree with the premise. Now, if you want to talk about people and their salaries and how much they get paid versus other people, couldn't you say that about every job? Couldn't you say that about every job, every business? The CEO gets paid $50 million and gets a golden parachute, and the average worker, isn't that a conversation about everything? So I don't feel like that's unique in any way. After seeing the Southern Sportsman Showdown, I think it opened up a new type of big money genre for other racing that use foot brake, no box, etc. I agree. The class cars have got a spot to race. They should do more. Bold Promotions should do more. They should do 8 a year. They should do 4 a year. South Beach looked like all kinds of chaos. Yeah, it was terrible. Not locals, by the way. Not local people. The water is too cold for any local person to go to the beach. It was like 58 degrees out. Local people are bundled up. Great seeing you in Orlando and the Gators. I need to move to Florida so I can live with you for a couple of months. I love Florida, meaning live in the same state, Craig. Yeah, totally. We're still selling property. Had to work at the shop, finish show. I got you. He did real great. Monty Bogan won everything on the first day. Random drawings, prizes, races. Guy was killing it. It was an awesome race. Thank you for going in depth on the subject. Yeah, occasionally I like to talk to. I stay out of the way. This is what the Ignition Show is for. My opinions. Nobody cares what my opinions are. They care about Alan's opinion and they care about the driver's opinion. But I have opinions and I will share them. And I came out of talk radio where I light people on fire if they do things that I don't like. But I was when I was younger. Figuratively, of course. It's very figurative. But I can be negative as the next guy. I choose not to. It's a choice. If people don't like the NHRA, it's okay to play with race cars somewhere else. Yeah. What? Imagine that. Wow. Exactly. If you really think it's that terrible, you are welcome to take a pause and find something else to do. And certainly. But I know that I've been working my butt off, and I know Brian Loans has been working his butt off, and the Alan Reinhart guy you just heard from every week lives it every second of every day, not to mention all the people behind the scenes that are working their tails off to make it a great experience. The pandemic derailed what was going to be the best year of NHRA in the most recent history. And isn't that easily to be said about so many things? Love a good Joe rant, full on WFO. When I was on satellite, man, the rants were incredible. I was really lighting people up. I don't do that anymore because I don't get a paycheck to do it. Every listener is coveted. I don't want to get anybody angry. Even you, Troy. I want you back next time, man. Tomorrow, 4:00. Josh Hart, please be here. Even with your negative outlook, we'll change you. Don't worry. Question for Jock Steve: which fuel? Oh, wait till they're on the show. I've been to many NHRA National Division events as a competitor. Never had a bad experience. Thank you, Tom. Exactly. Good show today. Thank you. All right. We're getting close. We're getting close to the end. Going in depth on the subject of negativity. Yeah, there's a lot of it. It's a cancer. It's a disease. Watch Ghostbusters 2. They attacked this issue back in the 1980s. You can't be negative all the time. It is a bad thing. It will shorten your life. It will cause you problems. It will affect the other people that you are around. And maybe they might just be saying, man, that guy's a negative dude. That might be what it is. You got to try to be a little more positive. You got to. Well, the world isn't all puppy dogs and ice cream. Well, no, it's not, which is all the more reason why we got to choose to highlight the positive. I like how everyone says NHRA is dead and abandoned grassroots and I'm no longer a fan. Yeah. Well, some people say that. Everyone's not saying that. They had a big race out there at Las Vegas, and they will have a big race at the 4-wide, and all the races will be big, and they will be fun, and I will be there, and I will be having a great time. And if you choose to join me, assuming I'm invited, well, that's your business. NHRA is more accessible than ever. It's more popular than ever. You have fans of all ages. That, I believe, is the truth. Now, we could really spend a lot of time going back over the years and finding and analyzing missteps, because there was a time where IndyCar, NASCAR, and the NHRA were all on even footing in terms of the American motorsports psyche. And are they still? Well, NASCAR has obviously ascended and exploded. And even now that they're maybe less popular than they were, they're much bigger than the NHRA. And what could we have done then to keep up? We could always go back and second guess a lot of stuff, but I don't see why. What a fantastic 3 weeks of drag racing. Can't wait to see everyone at the next race. It's a very exciting time for drag racing. I think it is. The Door Slammer Nationals. Way to go, Troy. We had a good time. And isn't that a nice little race? Getting up close, pro stock, pro mod. Great time. And we appreciate the work you do for the sport. You don't have to puff me up, Monica, although you bought 4 face coverings for WFO, so you must think it's true. Yeah, guys, the deal is this. We are in a new world, a new universe. Things are different. There's 500,000 people that aren't here anymore. Businesses are closed. We need to choose to be helpful, positive, energetic. We need to choose to try to make things better, not point and tell how they're bad. Now, like I said, bad things happening all around us. Real things. Like I told you about Saturday night when I get out of the race and I go to my friend's page and I see that his father has passed away. And it's and I'm worried that that's going to happen to me. And I know it's happened to a lot of us. And look, Jock is on there, man. Jock lost his mom. He was in the hospital for 20 days. And we're going to complain about what? Just happy to be here. The glass is half full always. Gainesville was a testimony to what's to come. Had a blast. Yes. Well, the glass is half full. The glass is actually totally full. Half with liquid and half with air. Apparently that's an engineer thing. Final comment. That's it. The only reason I subscribed to Flow Racing was to watch the Door Slammer National, so I'm very happy Funny Car Chaos will be on there. Yes. Plus NMCA and PDRA and expand my drag racing knowledge, of course. Enjoy your day. Back to the ER for me. My sympathy to your friend. Well, thank you. And, you know, maybe you disagree. You are welcome to email me, joe@wforadio.com. I'm on Instagram, which is really just pretty pictures. Don't send anger stuff there. Twitter. But send me an email, joe@wforadio.com. It's right on the website. If you really feel like I should be more negative, if you feel like I should accentuate the negative, if you feel like there's a great injustice happening to us as drag racers in the world, lay it on me. Make a case. I'm all for it. Another great show. Get the vaccine, wear a mask. I'm waiting for my time. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Thanks to Alan Reinhart. Thanks to all you. Thanks to the folks at Bold. We'll see you next time on WFO, 4 p.m. Josh Hart tomorrow.